One, this is the recorded video for week 8, day 1. Now, this is the very last week of school for 2020. So, for every opening that we have for this week, is going to be about the holidays. So, first of all, in our class today, we have a chance to share what is our favorite holiday moments, whether it is your favorite moment celebrate Christmas or celebrating Hanukkah, and we have a chance to share that with our fellow classmates. Now let's move on to our announcement for today. This Tuesday on December 15, we will have a Falcon News interview to share any tips that you have on how to wear a mask. So if you are interested to be a part of that interview, again, that will be this Tuesday at 2 p.m. Please email me and I'll send you the information on how to participate. Next, our 6th grade picture day will be on January 6th on Wednesday between 1 to 4 p.m. at Abbott. So again, please make sure to write this down. I know that it seems like it's a few weeks from now, but that will happen right after we get back to school on winter break. So make sure to write that down so they can plan ahead of time. So for today, our agenda, we are first going to go over the water cycle reading that we read, and then we are going to recap on what we have learned on water cycle, and then we will do some exploration on climate. Again, after you fill out the form for water cycle reading, a few people ask me how do they check their score. So this is the screen that you're going to see after you submit your Google form. Make sure to click right here on view score, and then it will show you the score right here on the upper right hand corner. Your goal is to get 7 points or higher. If you get 6 points or lower, make sure to do correction as we are going through this video right now. Number 1. Which planet in the solar system has a large amount of liquid water? That would be the Earth. Number 2. Where can you find most of the salt water on Earth? That is in the ocean. Number 3. Where can you find most of the fresh water on Earth? Most of the fresh water is in our glacier and ice cap. Number 4. Water that collects underground is known as the groundwater. Number 5. The water you drink today is the same as the water that has been on Earth for millions of years, and that is true. Number 6. What is it called when water changes from liquid to gas? That is known as evaporation. Evaporation. Number 7. What is it called when water vapor leaves plant due to heat from the sun? Again, it is a type of evaporation because we are seeing the water changing from liquid water to water vapor. But there is a specific term when water vapor is leaving the plants, and that is called transpiration. We also saw this question in our Time to Climb last week. Number 8. What is it called when water changes from gas back to liquid? And that is called condensation. Number 9. Which of the following is not an example of precipitation? And that would be clouds. Clouds is an example of condensation. So the other one right here, rain, snow, and hail, they are part of precipitation. Number 10. Which one is the correct order for water cycle? That would be evaporation, condensation, precipitation, runoff, and then repeats. So again, if you get 6 points or lower, make sure to do the correction right now, and you can click submit and turn in to get 70% credit. With that, we will recap on what we have learned on water cycle. So we learned about the basic part of water cycle. That is, it has evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. So those are the three parts that you heard of in elementary school as well. Now, last Monday, we mentioned that water cycle is a cycle, meaning that it does not have a defined ending point. It just go on and on continuously for hundreds and thousands of years. We also talk about other cycles that we see like rock cycle, nitrogen cycle, even seasons from spring, summer, autumn, and winter that also goes on a cycle like again and again. The other part that we talked about last week on day 3 is that each water droplet can take a very different path while going through the water cycle. Even though that the concept behind it for evaporation, condensation, and precipitation is the same, where they start and where they continue to travel through, that can be very different and unique for each water droplet. Last but not least, water cycle is powered by the sunlight and gravity. So we can see that liquid water right here, it can change from liquid water to water vapor due to the heat from the sun. The other part that affects water cycle is gravity. After water comes back down as precipitation, whether in the form of rain, snow, hail, sleet, etc., we can see that it can go downward through gravity, forming groundwater, or even from top of the river coming down in the while the river is flowing. So we can see the water cycle is powered by two power, one by sunlight and the other by gravity. Now, I have a question for you. The question is, in the trivia, it was mentioned that 70% of the earth is covered with water. But out of the 70% of the earth that is covered with water, what is the percentage of fresh water out of all the water on earth? Think about it. Again, we have 70% of the earth covered with water. Out of the 70% of that is covered with water, what percentage of that is made of fresh water? Out of all the water in the entire earth, what percentage is fresh water? Think about it. What do you think? Let's take a look. So right here, if we zoom in, this bar right here is showing all the water in the entire globe. Out of all 100% of the water in the entire globe, only 2.5% is fresh water, and we have 96.5% of the water is salt water in the ocean. And in our coming weeks, we are also going to learn about what is the effect of ocean and how would it affect weather and climates. Now with that, let's get into our climate exploration for this week. First of all, I want you to think of a city that you lived in or you visit. For me, I'm going to share Hong Kong. That is where I grew up as a child. And that's also where I went to elementary school. And I remember the summer over there, it was very hot, humid, it rains a lot, and they also have typhoon. So that's something that I remember about the climate for Hong Kong. I'm also going to add a picture right here. Think about what is the climate of a city that you live in or you visited. Now, my next question for you is this. do places with the same distance from the equator, would they have the same climate? Okay, take a look at this question again. Would places with the same distance from the equator have the same climate? Now, I want you to continue to think about this question while looking at the following pictures. Right here, this is a picture of the globe. And right here in the middle, we can see the equator. And this is where we are living in San Francisco Bay Area. So from here to the equator, let's say that this is a certain distance, right? Would places, let's say in here, would they also have the same weather as San Francisco Bay Area? What about if we go the same area in latitude? So right here in the middle of Asia, would this also have the same latitude as San Francisco? Would this place have the same climate? Let's take a look at a 3D mode of the globe. So we have North America here, South America right here. Again, we can kind of imagine the equator going through all this. Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia. As we are going through this, what do you think? Do places with the same distance from the equator, would they have the same climate? Yes or no? Think about this. Now, this is the question that we are going to be exploring today more in our assignment. Again, you can find your assignment right here under your Google Classroom. Click on classwork, go down to week 8, and you are going to see 3 parts. Okay. Now for this assignment, I will highly encourage you to have 2 browsers up together. Okay, one browser on the left with the PDF document and one browser on the right with the Google Slide. You can also use the Duelist app that I recommend from the beginning of the year. I'll also put the link for the Duelist Chrome extension in the description below. Okay, so again, make sure on the left side open the PDF document and on the right side have the Google Slide. So I'm going to put right here the Google Slide on the right side. And I'm going to have the document right here on the left. Okay, so you can see that I have 2 screens, one on the left and one on the right. So right here on this side on the left is a climate comparison. The first place that we are going to look at today is called Bouvet Island. And you can see right here, this is 54.43 degrees south of the equator. And the second place that we are going to look at is Clifton in Ireland. And right here you can see that this place is 53.49 degrees north. So you can see that they are almost similar in terms of how far it is from the equator. Okay, so again, this one right here is 54.43 degrees south, and on the other one is 53.49 degrees north. I also want to show you where this place are in Google Map. So right here we can see the Bouvet Island right here in the Southern Ocean. It is a small island covered mostly with glacier. And Clifton is right here on the western side of Ireland. So you can see the distance from Clifton to the equator. It's similar to the distance from Bouvet Island to the equator as well. Now, do you think that their climate would be the same? Or would it be different? today we are going to be doing two parts. We're going to be recording the data for Bouvet Island, and we are going to be recording the data for Clifton as well. So let's do the first part together. You can see on this document, we are going to be recording our data for Bouvet Island, maximum and minimum average temperature, maximum and minimum temperature for Clifton. Now, the data is right here on this worksheet, so it will be really helpful if you have both documents open so that you can transfer the information as you're looking at the both documents together. So we're going to do the first line for the maximum temperature. So again, the first one, January, I'm going to put 3 right here. February, 4. March, 3. April, 2. May, 1. June, 0. July, -1. August, -1. September, -1. 0. November, 1. December, 3. Let's do the minimum temperature together as well. The minimum temperature, I put the color as green, and we are also going to use the same color later on our graph as well. Okay, January to April, we are going to see 0. January, February, March, and April. For May, we see -2. June, -4. July, -5. August and September, -5. October, -3. November, -2. December, -1. So this is the number that I'm going to start with. Okay. You're going to do the same thing with Clifton later on as your assignment. Now, for the graph, we're going to graph the points based on the data that we collected. Now, on the x-axis, on the horizontal line, we'll see the month from January all the way to December. On the vertical line, also known as the y-axis, we can see the temperature going from -5 degrees Celsius all the way to 30 degrees Celsius. Now we are going to plot the points for the maximum temperature for Bouvet Island, and then we are going to take a look at the point for the minimum temperature for Bouvet Island. So the first number right here is 3. So you can see on this line that I put, I want to make sure this dot is on this line for January. 3 is going to be right here in between 0 and 5. February is 4. So I'm going to have this dot slightly higher. Like again, this dot is on the line for February, but it's going to be slightly higher than 3. March is going to be 3 degrees Celsius again. So I want to make sure that this dot and the dot right here on January is going to be the same exact line. April, 2 degrees. So I want to make sure that it's a little bit lower than what I have in March. May, 1 degree. June, 0 degrees Celsius. So I want to make sure that this is right here on the line for 0 degrees Celsius. For July all the way to September, it's going to be -1. So I want to make sure that it's below 0. October is going to be 0 again. November, 1. And December, 3. I'm going to plot the point for the minimum temperature for Bouvet Island with you as well. As you're moving the points, again, you want to click on the points. Make sure you see this cross icon like this. This is showing that you can move the icon. Okay, so again, you want to click on the icon. Wait till you see this cross looking icon and then you can move it. Okay, so again, January is going to be 0 for the minimum temperature. And I'm going to see that for all 4 months, January, February, March, and April. So I'm going to click this again, go to February, I want to make sure that it's going to be at 0. March, click on this, move the point, go to March, go up to 0. April, can I click on the points, move this to April, go all the way up to 0. In May, I'm going to see the temperature dropping to -2. So again, I'm going to click on this. -2 is going to be slightly lower than -1, right? So I did -1 earlier on the other graph. So I want to make sure that it's below this point, okay? June is going to be -4. So I'm going to click on this. Go to June. -4 is going to be close to -5. So I want it to be close to this like horizontal line I see on the bottom. Now from July to September, I'm going to see -5 for each month. So I'm going to click on the dots, move this right on -5. Okay. Again, I have the same data for July, August, and September. I'm going to go to September, make sure that I plot the point right at -5. For October, it's going to be -3. Click on the points. I'm going to put it right here for -3, -2, and -1. So I want to have it go up slightly, each one of this. December, -1. So right here, I have my graph so far for the maximum and minimum temperature for Bouvet Island. Now it is your turn to complete the rest for Clifton. Make sure, try to have both screen up, okay? On the left and on the right side, this will make it easier when you're doing your assignment. You can find on the description the app to Duelist to help you to have 2 browsers together. You can also manually have 2 browsers by just minimizing one screen on one side and the other screen on the right side. Okay, to get the data again for Clifton, again, you are going to have the average maximum temperature. This is going to be your data for the blue line, and minimum temperature, your data for the orange line. Make sure to fill this out on your data table, and afterward you're going to graph 2 more lines, the blue line for the maximum temperature for Clifton and the orange line for the maximum temperature in orange. So with that, we are going to continue the CR on Wednesday. So let me know if you have other questions. Otherwise, I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.